So today is the first day of a new season, the season of Advent. For 4 weeks, we will begin worship by lighting a candle on our Advent wreath. Candles that serve as a reminder that before we get to Christmas, there is time for waiting and wonder. And the tradition of lighting Advent candles on an Advent wreath started in the 19th century. It was at a German orphanage called the House, which translates rough house, which is probably a pretty apt description of an orphanage in the 19th century. Johann Wittern was the pastor there, and to help all the children manage their excitement by counting down the days to Christmas, he constructed the Advent wreath. And he made it out of a large wheel from a horse cart, placing 24 candles on it, 4 large white candles for Sundays and 19 small candles for the weekdays of Advent. And each day a new candle was lit, teaching the children patience with their anticipation. And Advent is the beginning of a new church year, so we start our year with this sense of expectation and anticipation and waiting. I kind of like Kate Bowler's description. She says Advent is not a new year like new year, new me, but it is about waiting, about tired and hopeful and skeptical waiting for a Savior who shows up as a baby, probably not the action figure we were ordering. The church year starts with waiting and hopefully with a sense of wonder. For over the past few weeks, we've explored practicing hope and practicing being thankful, and today we are practicing waiting. And this church year begins when the days are still gradually getting darker. And our purpose is to avoid jumping into sentimentality or fake cheerfulness. Our scriptures get us started this week with images not of the sweet baby or the bright star, but of the world as it really is here and now. It is beautiful and it is fragile and it is a mess. So Advent reminds us that often the things worth waiting for happen in the dark. In Genesis, God's Spirit hovers over the dark waters, preparing to create the worlds. Next spring's seeds and flowers will break open in the dark winter soil. And the child that we are waiting for grows in the deep darkness of the womb. So we can embrace these growing dark days, and we can hold in tension the grief of our circumstances, the beauty of the world, the compassion of a God that is coming to be with us. So on the first day of Advent, we just slow down our planning, slow down our list making, and take time to wait before rushing into the arrival of the Christ child, savoring this anticipation of the coming of God incarnate in the world. In doing this, we allow ourselves to experience awe and wonder, paying attention to both beauty and pain that this life holds. And unless we do this waiting and wondering, we might miss the joy and the real reason for the celebration. It's likely to skip by in the rush of our activities. But you may have noticed that waiting doesn't come naturally. Learning to wait intentionally and attentively, it's more like a form of exercise. It's like a muscle that has to be worked and shaped over a period of time. To sit and truly wait for God, not in bitterness, not with cynicism, is a form of spiritual work. And it is the invitation that this season gives us. Jesus has been telling his followers, stay alert, stay awake, pay attention to the trees and the seasons and the signs of change that you see. But we also may notice that waiting and wondering are not valued today. I think maybe because basically we don't like to wait. Waiting makes us uncomfortable. We feel powerless when we want things to happen faster and we can't make that happen. Waiting in lines annoys us. We feel disrespected. People are not valuing our time. Waiting for help makes us feel helpless and needy, and we're not in control when we're waiting for something. I think that's why we don't value wondering as well. We don't want to appear ignorant. We should know things. And if you think about the people that you know in the world who truly wonder, it's mostly the children. Their eyes grow wide with wonder when they see or hear something new they don't understand, and they delight in it. And when we were children, it was fun and exciting to see something new, something we couldn't explain. We loved magic tricks. But now the prospect of behaving like children makes us self-conscious because, we're supposed to be mature. We're too intelligent for things like wonder. And to be mature in our culture means not waiting and not wondering, but being in control. People who are successful, they're too busy and too important to be waiting around. So we try our best to avoid waiting or experiences of wonder. Maybe it's also because waiting and wondering open us up to the possibility that we might be about to step out of our comfort zone. We might have to recognize the way things have always been may not be the way they're going to be. Waiting and wondering make us realize all the things for which we have been working so hard don't last. They might give way to something unexpected. We don't know what the future holds for us, and this kind of waiting is uncomfortable. So uncomfortable that it becomes almost painful as we tend to turn our anticipation into worry. We begin to fret. As Colin pointed out last week, our brains tend to jump quickly to a defensive mode when we are uncertain. We are wired to fear the unknown. And that unknown future makes us feel a little angry, and then we proceed to ruminate on all the what-ifs. It takes practice to shut down the what-ifs and focus on what is. And I can write this, and I can say this, and I can still see myself each day with more what-ifs. What if somebody's mad at me? What if this pain isn't going to go away? What if something terrible is going to happen that I don't know about yet? It takes practice to slow down and pay attention to what we have right now to be grateful for, to stay in the moment, to choose hope over fear. But with practice, we can learn to let go of the worries and hold on to that joy of anticipation. Rachel Naomi Remen is a doctor who lives with chronic illness, and she teaches and counsels patients and physicians. In her book, Kitchen Table Wisdom, which is one of my favorites, she speaks of this joyful anticipation. She says, over the years, I have seen the power of taking an unconditional relationship to life. I'm surprised to have found a sort of willingness to show up for whatever life may offer and meet with it rather than wishing to edit or change the inevitable. When people begin to take this kind of an attitude, they seem to become intensely alive and intensely present. Their sufferings have not caused them to reject their life. She writes, as a friend with cancer puts it, I have to let go of my preferences, for I am living with an intense awareness of the miracle of the moment. And from such people, she says, I have learned a new definition of the word joy. For joy seems more closely related to aliveness, where life becomes an adventure. So Advent involves opening up to new possibilities, adventure coming from that same word. Because in an adventure, if you've ever decided, I'm going to go on an adventure, you're still not quite sure of the results, how it's going to turn out. An adventure is participatory. You don't sit back and watch. You get involved. You get swept up in the activities, but you can't control it. You don't know exactly what is going to happen. And that's part of the meaning of the word itself. It's a risky undertaking. The adventures of life don't always end happily ever after, but because it is filled with meaning and purpose, something good is coming. It is all worth the risk. So when we stop rushing around afraid of what we might be missing, life can be experienced as an adventure with whatever is happening to us and with us and around us. In our worship for 3 weeks, the prophets have been giving us hopeful visions of what this future might hold. The vision that we long to see, the life that we want to live in. Today we heard from Isaiah promising that God will judge the nations, and they will beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. And nation will not lift up sword against nation. Neither will they learn war anymore. The world that we want to be living in. But Jesus keeps reminding us that this time is coming, but we cannot control the process. We can only participate in it. So this season of Advent focuses on waiting and wondering and being ready for God's coming into this life with us. We wait for a child. We wait with a childlike sense of wonder, embracing the adventure that happens when we're open to that mysterious presence. Waiting, staying in that present moment. For when we are anticipating something good, we do want to rush towards it. We want to hurry and get there. We leave behind what is actually happening. God is inviting you to slow down and wait and see what is right before you, all of the beauty, all of the struggle, and watching for where God's love is already with us and active around us. Waiting is uncomfortable, but it's a good practice. We experience both the dread and the delight, but it prepares us for a new year where God continues to break in, where the unexpected future is unfolded as if it were a mysterious treasure map. And when we truly wait with wonder, it leads us into God's peace. We come into that place in our lives where we convert our warring swords or our warring words or our warring dispositions into plowshares. The hope that all the world will finally find themselves walking in God's peace-filled presence. This is what we hope for. This is what we are waiting for with a sense of wonder. So now let's continue our hopeful waiting in song.